We, the people of the United States, do recognize boundaries. And even when someone transgresses and says, they want a no trespassing order issued on a fellow citizen who they came to get their dog and introduced herself. Hi, I'm Angelica Messenger. Also known as Hope for Death and Kenneth Rodmaker. See, I'm not scared to show my face. Not at all. But the mask makes you pay attention to my eyes. Makes you see the truth that is truly in me. Now, we all recognize borders and boundaries. And I know that I would never steal someone's animals, entice them to my home, keep the pups, and call the dog warden on the parents. You don't know who I am. You are 2 doors down from me. Only with a teardrop-shaped property between us on the front side of our property at the road. Now, this right here proves that he must have definitely been on my property and that he is trying to destroy the property marker. Now, if we could get a shot of the fence and the markers here, please, and make our way a little closer to them. Oh, yeah. See, I recognize this fence as the border between my property and his. It's always been that way. I've been here longer than he has, and I know my neighbors. Now, in multiple places, it looks like there are cut trees or pushed over trees. Yes, these hills have a lot of dead trees on them, man. But to push it over with the Kubota on the property markers and destroy the fence when he don't want anybody going on his property, but he is bringing his Kubota onto mine. And I say Kubota many times because if I had a $38,000 front loader with a backhoe, I would certainly think I wouldn't need to take from the guy who would certainly love to have one and is just trying to get somewhere in life. Now, we're going to take a walk up and down to reference a few things that have happened, such as 1, the no trespassing order and the location that they were standing when they were enticing my dogs before they called the cops the second time. And also the fact that the first time they had also mentioned during conversation that I'm sure you have previously heard, and we won't go over it again. You can reference it back to one of the other videos. That specifically, we are standing on my property. And you see a camper top. But mind you, the wood to the left is all pulled out in front. This is actually when we found out that there was lumber missing. Now, I remember when I met the man, when part of the reason I thought that he was an asshole And as I so described to him in a text message that I didn't need to know anything else about him. I had my dogs back. And oh yeah, let me remind you, I thanked him. I told him if he ever need anything, I had to give him a hand. And I had even offered to pay him for dog food. But it started to set in as they were all more and more trying to fight to get right back over there. I've said it before, that's not normal behavior for these dogs. I mean, I'm telling you, dancing and barking and playing for their food. I walk out the door, they'd be at the neighbor's house across the street, like, come on, pups. Oh my goodness. Man, my friends used to have to try to fight to get them to get in the house without the pups fighting their way in. I mean, and I say used to, this shit is on, they're 10 weeks old. This was only 2 to 3 weeks ago when this shit started kicking off. It may have been even a month at this point that I noticed that they had started to wander a little more. Now, he did say that he saw the wood in front of the camper because he asked what all of it was for. Now, Doug, is it true that I had you and Gavin? And we can reference this with another video. The 1.5-hour video in the woods where, somebody pops up trying to watch us.
Yep, that's true.
That the wood was covered, in fact, by plywood and underneath the ledge there. And when you look at it, and as we take a little walk, we're going to take a few shots of it. And we're going to see if that section, if you can see that
it's the
wood.
white dot.
Yeah.
That is the camper.
But
there is wood in front of it.
But the wood there is all laid flat on the ground now. It was all piled up. And underneath, by the tongue, I did it so that when the camper let the water run off, and it came down to its drip edges, and the tongue of it sits underneath, yeah, that the pile of wood that was up in the tongue and down into nice and neat, and there's just quite a bit of space stacking under there, that it took 2 4x8 sheets. One was all the way up, and the other was on the ground. There was only that much overlay, but anyway, that was the top pieces, and it was sitting on 4 more, and there was 6 more. Or wait, how many are down there? There was 8 because that's what I needed.
There's 5. We're missing 5 4x4s.
Okay, the 4x4s. There's 3 pressure treated 4x4s left,
and missing a bunch of fucking 2x4s.
And I can exactly with the neighbor who also told me where my dog was. Her husband Terry, who gave me her son worked out a deal with me and got me a pallet of hardwood. And Terry came home with some extra lumber in the back of his truck. I went over and helped him take it out. And he said, well, he's like, do you need any of it for anything? I said, well, I can use them a couple dog run lines. Why? Would you like to sell it? And he said, yeah, actually, I like to sell. I'd like to be able to sell. I just thought I'd have it lay around until I need it. So I bought all 12 4x4s from Terry. The camper is down there and can also be cross-referenced that even back in December when Paul and I put it down there, because we used his father's bobcat. And we halted construction because, oops, we blew the tire and had to get it up out of here. And I thought Terry was gonna kick our ass, even though I offered to pay for the tire and offered to help change it, because these men do their thing on their own. I know my neighbors. I like my neighbors. They're my countrymen, my brothers in Christ. We all recognize what's going on, and we are from different walks of life. They're not the only ones. There's a whole family of them. The mother of my child, her best friend is Paul's girlfriend. See, all things are cross-referenced to the references from the cited by, people, sources, like the area, geographical locations, and the boundaries of territory by man under written law, and the laws applicable due to the ownership of the property that each person has. Well, I can tell you this. I can't call his land and his trees over here with a hot dog. And they're not just gonna not listen to him any more than they don't now. The fact of the matter is I reported what was said and what was done, and then they called, I reported it when they called the cops on me after I had politely introduced myself. Not like this, more like this. Hi, my name's Ken Rodmaker. I live 2 doors down in the yellow house. Yeah, CJ here, my neighbor, he told me that my pups might be down here, and he knew I might be looking for them. And as I see they're down here, like, man, I was like, oh, well, we didn't think anybody lived down there anymore. I was like, oh, well, okay. I said, well, I know they've been down here for a couple days. And I said, I apologize if they've done anything that may or may not have. I didn't even say may not have. May have happened. I said, I hope they ain't causing any real problems. They said, no. Just all the damn bones they get dragged up out of the woods. And I agree. I agree sincerely.
Yard full of deer bones.
There are so many deer bones and skulls fresh coming up out of here that there is obviously someone poaching the property, and it is certainly not I, Terry, Paul, Bob Leon, the neighbor on the other side, nor is it the Myers, Bob Myers, whose property sits there, or his brothers, or one of the nephews on the other side. But that's Shortridge side, and I know them too. Now, they don't have a problem if I ride through on their property. I don't have a problem if they do it on mine. Yes, I have a climber missing too, but I haven't reported that, seeing how everything else going on, it sounds a little petty. Well, a climber tree stand that belongs to my cousin Jimmy that he let me borrow for bow season, and that it was actually on Bob's land. And all of a sudden now there's 4 cords of wood missing off his land. There is definitely pathing from a large tractor-like vehicle, but I wouldn't see why either they or I would either take someone's wood, so that is not the accusation. I would hope that they wouldn't do that, and I would hope that they would know better than to keep someone's puppies and try to convince them that they didn't think anybody lived there. When there are people in and out of there all the time. I'm a subcontractor, and I employ as many of my friends as I can on any job that I get. And I try to get as many jobs as I possibly can to help out. Because I'm telling you, the economy, as we all know, is not that great. I managed to have a set of skills that allows me to look at the details of certain things, and by doing so and commanding it to be done right and teaching the guys how to do it right and leading them by example and treating them with common courtesy and mutual respect like I do everyone else, that I've figured out that this is a way to be successful, even though it is now outside of the norm. You would not have been able to see how much wood was down there from any angle. And he certainly knew that I lived there. There are only 7 properties on this no outlet road past my property in the northern direction. And that would be the old man CJ. Mike and Melanie on the right next, and I'm not even sure if that's exact on their names. I only know them because of this. As a matter of fact, with them making 2 reports against me and filing a no trespassing order that I had to read and sign, it still didn't have their name on it. And I don't have a copy of it. I don't have incident numbers. The badge numbers of the officers. I do know 2 of them personally. Not personally. I can't say 2 of them personally. 1 personally, and 1 due to his position publicly. And the one that is no longer sheriff and publicly, he's the one that really held up to the job. The one I know personally kind of scored me a little, man. But you know what? I mean, I love Gator. I love his family. And personally, I forgive him. But as Christians, we hold each other accountable. And I've prayed on it. And I'm sorry, brother. But I tried to be honest with you, straight up. And you know I got a temper. Yeah, I was wound up, and you know how I get. And you know that when I'm pissed off, my eyes get all big, and oh yeah. But I don't think that as an adult or a child that I have a arrest or conviction for acting violent towards another person. Ever. Or from stealing from another person. Or perjury in the court of law. Or hell, even not showing up to a court date, even when faced with serious charges. Now, if I'm accountable for all things that I do, the actions of my animals, then my neighbors, the men of my community who also took an oath to protect and to serve his brothers and sisters and countrymen to the letter of the and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. I mean, but really, people don't even know what that means, what that is. They don't understand what it is anymore. That's how I feel about a corporate America. Turn it upside down. This shit's got to stop. But that's a different case. But even though it's the same thing, just in a different way. And that the fact that these men that are even good men, I'm not trying to say they're not, because they weren't nasty and they didn't treat me like shit. They just, well, inadvertently treated me like shit and refused to respect the level of intelligence and knowledge of another man. But even at that, I should have been a dumbass, even if I was an idiot. I don't know what the problem. I hate what my dogs. Behavior looking them up on the internet. Or if I was pissed off, screaming, yelling, or flailing my hands, or they remind you that when I told the cops about what was going on, the officers had been called because they were claiming I had committed some sort of crime. Because you don't call the cops on somebody unless they're committing a crime. Oh, because I didn't keep my dogs on my property, eh? But when I found them 2 days later at their house, the only problem was the bones they drug up. And they told me exactly, but because of the conversation with the poaching, seeing my camper in the wood, and that they directly thereafter reference back to the other videos, but hell, fuck it, let's go on with it. That they in fact had been, they love them though. They've been naming them and playing with them, and they've been looking. And I said, they're not just any old huskies. I said, sweetheart, I said, ma'am, they are pure blood. I said, they may not look it. And the guy was like, oh, no. I've been looking them up online. Yeah, they're really rare. And then some of them have split eye and party eye, but none of them have bi-eye. But they all have split eye or party eye. Well, you know why I said that? Because I have the 5 rarest kind of huskies in one litter. And yes, no, a pure white husky is not one of 5. And a red with a split eye is not one of 5. See, those are really rare dogs. But these are the sable and the agati, the chocolate copper, and the apricot red. Only be preceded by the rarest of rare, my pride and joy that I'm not even going to sell. That of all of them has been spoiled rotten. As a matter of fact, she's laying in the house right now by herself, but that's a little bit deeper into her legs snap so bad. It's not just casted, that it's got a metal frame around it. And I don't even know how bad she's injured. See, a black puppy has been a target. I tried to, proved to the cops that I was definitely, the cops and the animal control, that I was more than trying to keep them in, and that all of a sudden it was now a big problem. Now, they had started to travel, all the neighbors up here, nobody had a problem. Actually, I've had neighbors stop by to check to see how, oh, where are the puppies? Oh, well, the kids love them, blah, blah, blah. Oh, so actually because of the puppies, I've actually met 3 more sets of neighbors that I get along with. That love the dogs. That actually encourage them to come a couple doors down and play with them, their animals and their kids. And if an officer, any one of them, would actually take the time to go around and get the eyewitness statements of the neighbors. And there's only 7 houses past here. And if you came up in the evening one night, about 4 or 5 o'clock, and just drove around, gave everybody a check, you can talk to everybody, and then maybe hit their door one more time on the way out. That might take a couple hours. I mean, but if one officer does it and handles that for the evening, maybe, you know, like an investigator or any cop that has a free moment and isn't sitting there by the road. I don't see why they wouldn't, so that's part of what you're supposed to do under the standard operating procedures, especially when there's been crimes alleged. They alleged some crime against me about having the dogs loose, but we're the ones who were encouraging them to stay and did not call until after I already had them back. And then the one busted through, the adult busted through me. Getting them back's a detailed story too. See, a hell of a long couple weeks. Because, I mean, it's got a hell of a lot worse. And tell you what, for the last 3 nights, we have actually have videos of us running other people off the property. I mean, I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, do you not realize what will happen to you if you get caught playing this little game in the middle of the night after trying to steal from me? I mean, why would you put either of us in that position? Because obviously, I didn't want a problem in the first place, even though I knew by what you were saying that what you were up to, and because of your actions. There's pillows and food and, pillows, food, toys, water, all piled up out front of the house. Just, well, you know, kind of reminds me of my home. But I'm not dropping food out the door and swapping back and just tossing it to them. No, I make them mind for it. And if they don't mind, they wind up on the chain. But now when I go to get them, they want to run away, all that shit. Wow. Okay. So, you're right, Gator. You don't think they are trying to steal my dogs. See, you said it yourself. You said, you don't think, period, they're trying to steal your dogs. By the same words that you spoke. But in a different context, because you didn't want to see the words that were spoke and the truths behind them, or were you willing to gather other words as they were spoke and cross-reference them by the shit that can be documented? Hey, this can be considered a document, especially when I set it next to the letter of the law, my Bill of Rights, and, you know, hell, just the truth that even from the reports by who made them, when they made them, how they made them, and what they said, and the dash cams, my recordings. I mean, I don't see how we can't get to the bottom of this. I don't think anybody, I don't think you, Madam Prosecutor or Sir Prosecutor, because I'm not even sure, or Judge Cleary would like someone to entice his dogs off his property and call the cops on them. But not only to do so once, but that after you have spent even more money to keep all these dogs in the yard that there's never been a problem with. But it is partially, I will admit, my fault. I didn't get Mom and Dad's run lines fixed right away, so Mom and Dad do like to run when they get off. They're huskies. Good thing I got 30 acres of land up on a no outlet road, and my neighbors don't care because they let their dogs do the same thing. I said I have 2 county officers up here that I don't even know them. I've actually never had a run-in with either, personally or professionally. Which probably is a good thing. It doesn't mean even if it had happened, it had to have been a bad thing. Just like this. I've been talking for a half hour.
32 minutes.
See what it takes to get to the truth. It could have got, this shit could have got filled on too. I mean, if you would have, if there would have been a repercussion for them, complaining that the dogs were there and off the chain after they kept them down there happily, and then, come on now. Do you think this really would have kept going? Do you think my dog would have got sold to a neighbor, and that the other neighbor across the street's nephew, who lives on the other no outlet street that is attached to this no outlet street, that is pretty long, so we are way up in here because take a look around. This is just beyond our backyards. Pretty big backyard for me. I like to play here. Certainly on my property. Might be right near the border. I was told not to go back over to his property. And that really means don't go over there messing with him, man. Don't go starting problems, man. You know what? I did. I tried to I was like, okay, man, I understand. And then you guys want to tell me how to keep my dogs on a leash. I do not have to keep my dogs on a leash. This is not a urban area. Though Dearborn County does have a leash law for vicious dogs and dogs in an urban area. And as long as my dogs are not harming or damaging someone else's property, or someone is not complaining, and actually the first step of that would be to go talk to your neighbors, not try to steal their fucking dogs. Look them up online and realize, wow, this one's worth 12 stacks. This one's worth 5 stacks. Let me say that professionally, $12,000 US. Well, for one, that had more white on it and had just regular blue eyes. So a jet black and a pure jet black, and a pure jet black not being purely jet black, just due to the amount of percentage of white fur. See, she has less than any than I've ever seen. And she has party time, the rarest kind. The value of this dog is quite high. And if her hind quarter is damaged, then it must be worth quite a bit. Especially seeing how she's so valuable that I'm not going to get rid of her. I've never done it. That is the one I have no intentions of getting rid of. That I plan on trading one of the pups, actually a chocolate copper, for a chocolate copper, or another male pure white. I don't know. It's breeding. And that is part of my money. Part of how I make my living. The dog goods work. I mean, shoot. I am lucky to have, they're my pets, so it's not like I'm running a fucking kennel. And I can't sell dogs at people that won't listen. I can't sell dogs that are stolen. I can't sell dogs that I don't have time to even pay correct attention to my electric bill and have spent enough extra money on due to the actions of someone else who is claiming now they have a problem with it after, well, keeping them down there for 2 days and enticing them back over there since. And on somehow 6 witnesses is not evidence. And that at any point, if you think you are going to beat me down with this shit and not do anything about it, I will take it above your head because I'm getting pretty fucking indignant. I've been pretty fucking patient. I've been trying to do it the right way. And I've even been able to do it without screaming and yelling. So here, I'm not threatening. I, by the letter of the law, demand the same treatment under the law. I'm not asking for their rights to be violated. I'm asking for the consequences of them for repeatedly violating my rights. To the point where, hey, people are coming on property in the middle of the night, and we take them back. Why are we at the property line? Oh, the wood missing? Yeah, definitely whoever had the boat all up down these hills here, breaking down frickin' fence lines and crossing over. Because I said we were going to take some more shots here soon. And the trails that are cut in to my fence line and the fence that's taken down and rolled up across where the fence line used to be. So, damn. I guess we got some more work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stop this video and make a move.